He turned me into a punchline with one clink of a glass and a smile he saves for audiences, not family. Laughter rippled under the chandelier, bright as bayonet steel, and I felt old reflexes tighten behind my ribs. I counted exits, cataloged faces, measured threats, because that's what years of silence trained me to do, even when the insult wears a tuxedo. And for the first time in years, I wanted them to see me. Not the quiet sister, not the spare chair at the end of the table, but the reason the room would still be breathing by midnight. My name is Elena Ward. I am 35 years old, and I serve as a major in the United States Army. The Officers' Club smells like citrus polish and old victories. Flags lean from mahogany poles, brass eagles catching the warm lamplight. A string quartet saws through something elegant while ice knocks at the edges of highball glasses. The base commander, silver hair, steady eyes, works the room with a handshake that says both welcome and watch yourself. It's a summer evening, humid enough to curl the tiny hairs near my ear, and the air conditioning hums like distant rotors. My family fits here the way a cracked frame fits a museum wall. My sister Avery is a PR executive who treats truth like a wardrobe, costume changes on the hour. She lives for the lenses. She hates what doesn't photograph well. My mother, Lorraine, counts donations at church and judgments at home. She believes generosity is an event, never a habit. My father, Hank, a retired firefighter with hands like old rope, keeps his tie too short and his heart too open. He's the only one who squeezes my wrist and whispers, "Kiddo, you good?" when the room gets sharp. And then there's Kyle, my brother-in-law, real estate grin, whiskey breath, a watch that could pay someone's rent for a year. He's the one who raised his glass. "To family," he said, and let the pause become a trap. "Some of us do very important things." His eyes slid to Avery, a wave of smiles. "And some of us?" He looked at me, head tilted, soft pity sharpened into showmanship. "Well, they're just family." A ripple of laughter, the kind that looks like light but bites like frost. The commander's eyes flicked to me, curious, then polite, and moved on. My father coughed into his fist. My mother's pearls clicked as she turned her neck to watch my reaction. Avery smoothed the satin over her hips, already halfway to forgiving me for existing. I smile. It's small and uninteresting, the way you smile at a stranger who thinks he knows your name. It costs me nothing. It cost Kyle everything later. He doesn't know that yet. Somewhere in the music, a short rhythm breaks. A footfall on polished wood. A glass set down too carefully. I let the humiliation pass through me and drift to the edges of the room where shadows collect like intel. Pillars line the west wall, white and fluted, hiding the ugly conduits that keep the chandeliers alive. Waiters push past with racks of crystal, and beyond the French doors the parade ground lies in velvet dark. Once, in a crowded market half a world away, I learned to watch hands, not faces. The man who mattered never looked at me, but his left sleeve tugged when he breathed. The jacket told on him. The holster did the rest. Avery leans in, breath sweet with champagne. "You could have dressed up more," she says, smiling wide enough for every camera in the room. "Be fun for once. People might actually like you." "People already do," I say, and take in the room as if it were a map I drew myself. The band, the dais, the fourth pillar casting a clean line of shadow over the parquet. The shadow moves. Kyle returns with another drink and an audience. "So, Elena," he says loudly, "still between jobs?" He knows exactly what he's doing. He wants the commander to hear it. He wants the room to think I'm static, harmless, safe to laugh at. He has always been brave in rooms with chandeliers. When I was 24 and the night had the color of asphalt, I learned how to disappear between headlights. A boy with a tattered scarf took my hand and asked if I was scared. I told him fear is a compass. You don't throw it away, you use it to go home. Between? I say, and hold his eyes. No, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. He snorts, pleased, performs disbelief for the nearest uniform. Hear that? Purpose. She's got purpose. The commander drifts closer, drawn by the gravity of bad manners. His decorations flash once, twice. He introduces himself to my mother with a courtly nod and to my father with respect that lands heavy. And you are? He asks me, an open door. I take a breath that has nothing to do with oxygen. The quartet shifts to a minor key. Somewhere, ice fractures in a bucket. The fourth pillar's shadow adjusts again, not with the air conditioning, but with intention. A left hand, gloved, rests at thigh height, waiting for the music to cover movement. Jacket hem lifted. Weight on the ball of the foot. Target line, the dais. I set my glass on a silver tray without leaving a ring. The room is suddenly very quiet to me, even with the music. Kyle is still talking. Avery is still rearranging her smile. My mother is still polishing disappointment with her thumb. My father is still a lighthouse in a storm only I can see. The commander's gaze meets mine, and for 1 second, recognition of the breed, not the name, passes between us. I lean in as if to comment on the flowers. My voice is almost nothing, but it threads the right ear. Fourth pillar, left hand. His expression changes, and the world begins to move. The commander doesn't blink. That's how I know he's heard me. His jaw tightens once, like a door locking, and the orchestra's strings seem to sharpen with him. The air inside the officers' club has shifted, humid with perfume, heavy with suspicion, and not a soul at my table realizes the storm has broken. Kyle keeps talking. Always talking. See, Elena's just around. She's not like Avery or me. We're builders. We're successful. She just drifts, you know? His laughter is thick, eager, needy, the sound of a man trying to win an audience he's already bought. The commander sets his glass down carefully, like it might shatter if he breathes too hard. His eyes flick once toward the west wall, then back to me. I don't move. I've trained my body to be furniture until I need it to be fire. I think of Kandahar, of heat baking the earth into clay and children kicking stones that hid wires. I think of the night Sergeant Morales told me, "Your silence will save more lives than your gun ever will." And it did. Until silence became exile, and exile became my family's favorite punchline. The chandelier light scatters across Kyle's polished watch as he lifts his glass again. He thinks the commander's interest belongs to him. "Sir, I should tell you, I'm in real estate. My firm's expanding all over the state. If you ever—" "Quiet," the commander says. Calm, final. The kind of quiet you don't argue with. Kyle's mouth snaps shut. He glances at Avery, who frowns, confused by her husband losing the stage. My mother's lips part like she's about to apologize on his behalf. My father shifts in his chair, his eyes narrowing, not at me, but at the sudden tension in the commander's face. He's felt smoke enough times to know fire is near. The quartet stumbles. One violin misses a beat, because someone's shadow has cut across their sheet music. I rise, smooth, measured. No drama, no haste. Every eye at our table tilts toward me. Kyle smirks again, mistaking motion for surrender. "There she goes," he whispers, running from the spotlight like always. No, running is what he does. He runs from silence, from truth, from the kind of eyes that can strip a man down to bone. The waiter near the bar drops a tray. Crystal splinters, a sharp percussion against the marble floor. Gasps scatter like birds. The commander moves then, subtle, a shift of weight, a repositioning. His right hand hovers near his belt, but he doesn't draw. Not yet. Because the assassin at the fourth pillar is already moving, jacket lifted, left hand sliding free. The glint of metal where only linen should be. The shadow he casts is longer than a man should own. Avery's hand tightens on Kyle's arm. "What's happening?" she hisses. My mother turns her pearls, eyes darting. My father starts to rise, but I push my palm against his shoulder. "Stay," I whisper. He hears something in my voice, something he hasn't heard since the firehouse when men listened to alarms more than orders. He stays. Kyle tries to laugh, but it breaks in the middle. "What? What's going on?" His eyes search for an explanation that flatters him, but the room has stopped applauding. The room is listening to me. I step away from the table, into the light that once ignored me. Each footfall is deliberate, every sense awake. I smell cordite where there should be citrus polish. I feel the weight of stairs pressing my shoulders. I hear the assassin's breathing, steady, trained, because it matches my own. The commander speaks low, pitched only for me. "Major, you're certain?" "Yes," I answer. The rank fits like armor. "He's here for you." In a flash, memory stabs. The alleyway in Fallujah where I first noticed the twitch of a man ES left thumb. He carried fruit in his right hand but death in his left. He thought no one would see it. He thought wrong. The assassin shifts fully into view now, face half-shadowed by the pillar. Tall, lean, with a stare that cuts through glass. He doesn't care about the orchestra or the champagne or the family spectacle. His mission breathes louder than all of them. My family finally sees it. The reality, the danger, the truth. Avery grips Kyle's hand hard enough to turn her knuckles white. My mother presses a napkin to her lips as if it might block the world. My father's hand drifts instinctively toward me, but I've already stepped out of reach. The assassin lowers his weight, poised, coiled. His left hand rises, weapon angled, target fixed, and I'm already moving toward him. The violin bows screech like alarms as I cut across the parquet floor. Every polished shoe, every sequined dress blurs into background static. Only the assassin's eyes stay sharp, dark, flat, unshaken. He expected chaos. He didn't expect me. The commander shifts, half a step behind, but he lets me lead. He knows the difference between instinct and experience, and I have lived long enough to make instinct my weapon. The assassin raises his hand higher, barrel glinting under chandelier light. The music stutters into silence. Glassware trembles against linen. For a split second, the whole room hangs weightless between laughter and bloodshed. And in that silence, Kyle opens his mouth. "Elena, sit down. You'll embarrass—" He doesn't finish. He never will. My heel plants. My hand snaps a wine bottle off a passing tray. The cork shatters against marble as I hurl it with trained precision. The bottle strikes the assassin's wrist with a sharp crack. The weapon skitters across the parquet, metal ringing like a dropped bell. Gasps erupt, chairs scrape. The assassin lunges after the gun, but I'm already there. My body remembers the drills, the endless nights, the sweat-stained mats. I trap his arm, pivot, drive my elbow into his ribs. A sound leaves his throat that isn't quite pain, not yet, but it's enough to stagger him sideways. Flash, cobble. A corridor lit only by emergency lamps. A man twice my size had pinned me against a wall, his breath hot with opium. Morales had shouted, "Use his center, not his size." I had shifted, slammed him off balance, felt the crack of bone against stone. That night, I walked away with blood on my boots, not mine. Now, under crystal chandeliers, I do the same. The assassin hits the floor hard. The gun slides further away, spinning beneath a linen-covered table. Guests scream, heels clatter. Someone shouts to call the MPs. The commander moves in, steady, precise. His voice cuts through the noise like artillery. Nobody leaves, nobody moves. Kyle stares at me with his mouth open. Avery clutches his sleeve, trembling. My mother whispers something like a prayer, her pearls rattling as she shakes. My father. He stands, shoulders squared, and for once his eyes don't ask who I am. They know. The assassin spits blood, then laughs, a low, broken sound. They never told me she'd be here. The commander kneels, pinning his shoulder with a boot. Who sent you? His voice is steel, but the man doesn't answer. His stare flicks to me, a recognition I wish didn't feel familiar. I press my knee harder into his chest. His pulse pounds beneath my hand. Left hand was sloppy, I tell him, voice flat. You should have switched sides. He snarls, his jaw flexes, and then, with sudden violence, he bucks upward, sending me off balance. He doesn't aim for the commander. He doesn't aim for me. His eyes lock on someone else across the room. My family. Time slows, cruel and deliberate. The assassin's body twists, every tendon straining, his gaze cutting past me like a blade. Not the commander. Not me. His sightline lands square on the table where my family sits. Kyle frozen in confusion, Avery clutching his arm, my mother trembling behind her pearls, and my father halfway to standing with a fireman's instinct burning in his chest. The breath leaves me sharp, like desert wind tearing through canvas. I know that look. That choice. When an operative loses the mission, he takes collateral. Family becomes leverage. Innocence becomes punishment. No. My voice breaks louder than I've let it in years. I pivot hard, hand striking his jaw, but he's already rolling, fast, disciplined. His boot lashes out, catching my ribs, a burst of fire under my uniform dress. The orchestra's instruments topple, strings snapping in protest. A tray of champagne glasses crashes, the fizz and shatter drowning out the guests' screams. For an instant, I'm not here. I'm 25, pinned against rubble in Kandahar, a child clinging to my uniform while bullets snapped against concrete. I'd whispered to her in Pashto, "Don't look, just breathe." I carried her out when the blast took half the street. Her eyes had burned into me, promising I'd never escape what survival costs. The assassin lunges toward the gun under the table, the arc of his movement slicing directly toward my family. Kyle yelps, shoving Avery in front of him like a shield. My mother grabs her pearls so tight they dig into her palm. My father steps forward, brave but unarmed, too human for what's coming. I launch myself low, a blur across polished wood, ribs screaming. My hand clamps the gun's slide a heartbeat before his fingers find the grip. He snarls, twisting, trying to wrench it free. The metal bites my skin, cold, unyielding. The commander's voice thunders, "Stand down!" But the assassin doesn't hear him. His lips curl and he hisses through teeth. Family first always. I feel the shift in his weight. He is going to pull the trigger even if it takes my hand with it. The barrel swings, wobbling, aligning toward my father's chest. Every nerve in me ignites. I shove the slide sideways, force my body between the muzzle and my bloodline. The shot explodes, deafening. Light blinds white across the chandeliers. A scream echoes, sharp and close. For a breathless second, I don't know who's been hit. Then I see my father's eyes widen, not from pain but from horror as smoke curls from the tablecloth near his heart. The bullet missed him. Missed them all. Because I took the angle. Because I've never stopped calculating. But the assassin isn't finished. He wrenches back, knee driving into my chest, another hand sliding toward a blade strapped under his jacket. The commander moves then, gun drawn, boots pounding toward us. But I know he won't reach us in time. It's me. It's always been me. And as I lock eyes with the assassin, I realize with bone-deep certainty, this fight isn't about the commander. It isn't about politics. It isn't even about the base. It's about me. Someone sent him knowing I'd be here, knowing my family would. But why? The question hammers louder than the ringing in my ears. Why me? Who wanted this here tonight? The chandelier light flickers off the blade as the assassin yanks it free, serrated edge catching every shimmer. His smile is red with blood, teeth bared like a wolf's. Behind me, Avery whimpers. My mother mutters another prayer. Kyle's chair screeches backward as he scrambles, cowardice painting his face pale. Only my father doesn't move, his fists clenched at his sides, a man who'd charge a fire but knows this isn't his battlefield. I don't wait. I slam my forearm against the assassin's wrist, steel screaming against bone. The blade clatters, skids across marble. He lunges for me anyway, fists like hammers, rage making up for lost precision. The commander shouts orders, secure the exits, clear civilians. But my focus tunnels. All I see is the assassin's eyes. All I hear is the thundering echo of his breath against mine. I fought men like him before, in alleys reeking of gunpowder, on rooftops where the stars hid behind smoke. Men who underestimated me until their bodies met the ground. But there's something different in his stare. He knows me. Not my face, not my name, but the rhythm of how I move. His lips curl into a grimace. They were right, he spits, voice shredded. You're still dangerous. My stomach knots. They. Who whispered my ghost back into circulation? My file was sealed, my career erased by silence. Only blood knew the truth. I drive a knee into his gut, hear the wind leave him. My hands pin his shoulders, weight pressing him flat. Who sent you? My voice is low, feral, dragging from a place I buried years ago. He grins through pain. Family always betrays itself. The words hit harder than his blows ever could. My grip falters, and in that half-second, he twists beneath me, flips his weight, and we're both rolling across shattered crystal. My palm slices open, blood streaks across the parquet. The commander steps forward, weapon leveled. Major, move. But I don't. I press the assassin's arm down, locking his elbow. If he twitches wrong, I'll snap it. He doesn't care. He laughs instead, chest heaving, blood dripping from his split lip. His voice rises enough for the guests to hear. Ask your brother-in-law. Ask him why you were chosen. Kyle. I whip my head around. He's standing now, trying to edge toward the French doors, his face drained of every drop of color. He stammers, I don't know what he is talking about. But the lie shudders in his throat. The commander hears it too. His gaze slices into Kyle like a scalpel. My father looks from him to me, horror dawning in his eyes. Avery clutches Kyle's sleeve, bewildered, whispering, What did you do? The assassin's grin widens, blood staining his teeth. Not so worthless now am I, he hisses. And for the first time I realize this entire night, the drinks, the laughter, the humiliation, wasn't random. It was bait. But bait for who? The assassin's laughter rakes through the silence like broken glass. His blood drips onto the polished floor, each drop loud as a drumbeat. My grip tightens on his arm, but my mind is no longer locked on him. It's on Kyle. My smug, whiskey-breathed brother-in-law, suddenly pale, trembling, caught like a rat in a floodlight. The commander doesn't lower his gun. His voice is sharp, controlled. Major, hold him! Sergeant, lock those doors! Boots thunder as MPs move, sealing the exits with steel and authority. No one leaves. No one breathes without permission. Kyle swallows hard, tugging against Avery's grip. This is insane! He's lying! I don't— Shut up! I snap. My voice cuts through him like a blade. He freezes, his jaw trembling. My father looks between us, chest heaving, confusion knitting into dread. Elena, tell me what's happening. His voice carries the weight of a man who is pulled strangers from flames but never thought the fire would start at his own table. My mother clutches her pearls tighter, as if strangling them will hold the world together. Her lips tremble, but she doesn't speak. Not yet. I push my knee harder into the assassin's chest, leaning closer, my whisper a growl. Who sent you? Say it. His grin splits wider, teeth red. You already know. He wears your blood's name. My stomach twists. Kyle again, the coward who mocked me under chandeliers, the man who hides behind money, who built glass towers while sneering at my silence. Flash. A letter I'd burned years ago, unsigned, dropped in my locker in Kabul. Stay buried, or your family pays the price. I'd watched the ink curl into ash, swore the threat died with it. I was wrong. The commander steps closer, gun unwavering. Major Ward, secure the prisoner. His tone is calm, but his eyes flick briefly at Kyle. He's piecing it together, too. Kyle shakes his head, sweat streaking his temple. I didn't. Elena, please. He looks at Avery for support, but she recoils, confusion hardening into suspicion. Kyle, what did you do? My pulse slams against my ribs. The assassin writhes beneath me, but I hold him down, my blood dripping onto his sleeve. Say it, I demand again, louder. Say his name. The assassin's chuckle turns ragged. He coughs once, spits red, then leans his head back against the marble. Your brother-in-law. Paid for silence. Paid for shadows. Thought you'd never come back. The room implodes with noise. Gasps, shouts. The crack of Avery's wineglass slipping from her hand. Kyle stumbles backward, palms up, shaking his head violently. No, he's lying. He's trying to save himself. But I see it. In his eyes. The flicker of recognition. The guilt that can't be faked. And in that moment, with the assassin pinned beneath me and my family's world burning above us, one truth settles heavy as stone. This wasn't betrayal from outside. It was seated inside my own bloodline. The chandelier's glow suddenly feels cold, throwing sharp edges on every guilty face. My breath burns as I stare at Kyle, my brother-in-law, my family by name, my enemy by choice. The assassin writhes under my weight, but it's Kyle's trembling hands that pin me harder than any grip. Because betrayal from a stranger is war. Betrayal from family is poison. Avery stumbles back from him, Satin clutching at her knees, eyes wild. Kyle, tell me it's not true. He tries for charm, the same grin he uses on investors. But his lips tremble, corners twitching, the mask cracking. It's not. He's setting me up, babe. You know me. Her whisper is thin as glass. Do I? My father steps forward, fists still clenched, firehouse grit in his jaw. Kyle, he growls. Look me in the eyes. Did you put my daughter in the crosshairs? Kyle can't. He drops his gaze to the parquet, sweat dripping down his temple. Silence answers for him. The commander lowers his weapon slightly, his voice deliberate, heavy. Major, the pieces fit. The assassin's words, his aim, his entry. None of this happens without inside hands. His eyes lock on Kyle. And he reeks of it. My mother gasps, pearl strings snapping as beads scatter across the floor like spilled secrets. She bends to catch them, whispering, "Not family, please, not family." But her eyes won't meet mine. Because deep down, she knows too. Flash. A Thanksgiving dinner years ago. Kyle bragging about his connections, the kind that never had names. Avery laughing, my mother clapping politely. My father watching in silence, troubled, while I sat at the end of the table knowing that some men build walls not to shelter but to hide behind. The assassin coughs beneath me, his grin still bleeding. He wanted you exposed, your past dragged into the light, said you were nothing, a ghost. He feared you'd take what he thought was his. Kyle snaps, voice cracking. Shut up. You don't know anything. He lunges toward us, but Avery grabs his sleeve, holding him back with a strength born of terror. Don't, she whispers, shaking. Don't make it worse. I rise slowly, keeping my knee pressed hard into the assassin's chest, but my eyes never leave Kyle. My voice is quiet, but it carries across the club. You sold me out, to cover your own weakness, to bury me twice, once in silence, once in blood. He flinches like the words are bullets. He tries to speak, but nothing comes. His jaw works, his throat tightens, his lie strangled before it's born. The commander motions to the MPs. Restrain him. 2 armed men step forward, their boots echoing sharp against marble. Kyle panics, shoving Avery aside, trying to run. But the doors are barred, the exits sealed. He stumbles, caught in the iron grip of military hands. His watch glints once under the chandelier before they twist his arms behind him. He thrashes, shouting my name like an accusation. Elena, you'll regret this. You think you're the hero, but you're nothing without me. My father's face folds with grief, his voice breaking. You were family, Kyle. You were supposed to protect her. Kyle spits, venom and fear tangled. Family? She was never family. She was a liability. The words hang like smoke, choking the room. And as they drag him past me, thrashing, the assassin beneath my knee begins to laugh again, low and certain. Blood eats blood, he whispers. Always. I lean closer, voice steady, steel hidden in the whisper. Not mine. Not tonight. But even as I say it, my chest burns with the question that refuses to die. What other shadows did Kyle invite in? The MPs cinch plastic restraints around the assassin's wrists, the zip-tie teeth clicking like a clock that finally remembered time. Radios crackle. The quartet has abandoned their instruments. Boughs lie like fallen sparrows on the parquet. Champagne pools under linen, catching shards of chandelier light. The officers' club smells of citrus and cordite and something older, fear drying into resolve. Kyle is pinned near the French doors, his watch face tilted, counting every second to nowhere. Avery hovers at the edge of him, mascara smudged, wedding band hand shaking. My mother kneels on the floor, gathering pearl beads one by one as if pennants came in tiny circles. My father stands a few feet from me, squared shoulders, eyes soft with an ache that isn't weakness. He nods once. I feel it like a hand on my back. The commander holsters his sidearm and steps into the center of the ruin we've survived. His voice is gravel wrapped in velvet. Ladies and gentlemen, you're safe because Major Ward noticed what the rest of us did not. A ripple of shocked murmurs. Heads turn. I keep my hands still, blood drying along my palm like a map I refuse to frame. He looks at me, then past me, to the room that misjudged me under crystal light. Her record will not be paraded for entertainment, but know this. She served where names dissolve and only outcomes matter. His eyes flick once to my family. And tonight, she delivered another. The assassin coughs laughter through split lips. Speeches, always speeches. I crouch beside him. Names, I say. Give me one. He bares teeth. A developer with friends, a husband with debt. A deal the commander refused to bless. Remove the obstacle. Humiliate the ghost. 2 birds. Kyle's breath hitches. It's the kind of sound a man makes when the scaffolding finally gives way. Avery turns, slow, careful, as if a sudden movement will break what's left of the evening. Tell me he's lying. Kyle sags against the MPs. I just needed leverage, he whispers. To force a meeting, to make the commander listen. I didn't order. You purchased the door, I cut in. You're responsible for what walks through it. His mouth opens, then closes. He has no language for accountability. He never learned it. Flash. A motel parking lot years back. One phone call. A voice I never traced. Stay buried, or they all dig up everyone around you. I tossed the sim into a storm drain and pretended the water could drown threats. Water only moves them. The base medics arrive. Latex snaps. The assassin is hauled upright, boots leaving dirty crescents on polished wood. MPs march him toward the service hall where fluorescent light hums like judgment. He looks over his shoulder. Blood eats blood, he rasps. Not tonight, I answer. My voice is calm. It surprises me. The commander faces Kyle. Financial crimes will be investigated. Conspiracy as well. And if a single thread ties you to this man beyond coincidence, the law will finish what the major started. He signals. The MPs lead Kyle out, cuffed in chrome that doesn't care about real estate portfolios. Avery stares after him. A woman learning grief and truth share a face. Silence folds over the room. The string lights along the balcony buzz. A server, pale but steady, begins sweeping glass into a pan with slow, careful strokes. Life rehearses normal. It never performs it well after nights like this. My mother approaches, pearls now a smaller necklace, eyes rimmed red. "I should have defended you," she says. "You can start now," I answer. Not unkind, just true. She nods, small and tired, as if truth weighs more than jewelry. My father reaches me last. Up close, I see the edges the years carved into him. He lifts my bandaged hand, studies the slice. "You all right, kiddo?" I am. It's not bravado, it's inventory. The commander steps nearer, voice lowered. "You don't have to go quiet again." I exhale, feeling the cold drift from the vents, the polished wood underfoot, the last fizz in forgotten glasses. I look at my family, broken and beginning, and at the room that will remember me as more than a shadow. "Maybe quiet isn't my weapon anymore," I say. "Maybe it's my witness." He inclines his head, that rare approval that doesn't feel like praise, only recognition. Outside, night presses against the glass. A distant siren fades. I stand at the threshold between secrets and the simpler courage of telling people who you are. The scar on my palm will harden. The memory will not. Both are instructions. I turn to Avery. "You decide who you are now." She meets my eyes. "So do you." "Yes," I say, and for the first time, the word feels like a door opening instead of closing. I face the room that laughed and then lived. My chest is steady. My voice is clear. And I choose the sentence I want carved into whatever comes next. Honor outlives blood. I chose honor.